Do you ever get the feeling people are incapable of not caring? People are amazing.
One. Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
Hello, I'm Lauren Stevenson.
And this is our second pick of three. Normally on the three-pick series, there's like one that is a shared favourite, one that's a real oddball choice, and then one that's a personal favourite. We've sandwiched two movies that I really enjoy with a movie that I didn't particularly enjoy.
And that's this one.
This one, yeah. On Arrival.
So what was the other one I chose?
You chose Father of the Bride.
Oh, I love that film.
Yeah, okay. So that's the big nice finish. But so obviously I'm a huge Oscar prognosticator and all sorts of. I watch everything Oscar wise. And very early in the season,
never
knew that. Yeah, I do. And very early in the season, there was this thing about Brendan Fraser in this movie called The Whale, and it was based on a play about a morbidly obese man. And the early word was, oh, Brendan Fraser is going to be hotly tipped for Best Actor. The movie goes through the festival run, and most of the reviews are the movie's quite bad, but everybody's very good in it. I saw the movie at sea. I kind of had a similar reaction. And then it went through the typical waves of criticism of, oh, is this problematic? Should we have cast a really fat person and all this sort of shit? And then the movie comes out. He does win Best Actor. And I haven't heard anybody talk about The Whale in a very, very long time. Even when, and this was, I thought, a point of contention, all this issue about the quote-unquote Jew face in Maestro with that use of makeup, and nobody brought up The Whale winning Best Makeup. So it didn't even come up then, and that was only a year before. You have never. I mean, this movie came out in a period where we weren't talking, but I could have picked 200 movies, and I would have never known that this was a movie that you enjoy, care about, like, wanted to discuss. So tell me, Lauren, why on earth we're talking about The Whale?
Well, I think with this movie as well, it's connected to a very special time when I watched it. Like you said, you watched it at sea.
Yes. No. I will make no qualms that me on an illegal download on my computer, because it's the only way I could watch those Oscar movies in the middle of the ocean, is not the ideal viewing experience.
Exactly. So I actually watched it. I was in New York. Don't know if I've mentioned that. I went there when this came out, and I entered like a raffle to get tickets to a screening and with a Q&A with Darren.
First name basis,
even though he didn't pick me to ask a question. But anyway, so I went by myself with my little notebook, watched it. Then it was Sadie Sink was there as well.
Right.
And they did a big Q&A. And I think with this movie, I think the fact that I obviously, as yourself, love theatre. And with movies and with films, I get quite, bored is not the right word. I will go on my phone, I'll have to be doing something else. My attention span is really kind of shit, which is not good. But I felt like I was watching a play when I was watching this movie.
Yes, which is one of people's big criticisms, actually. So it's weird to hear you be positive about that.
Yes, because I just think the dialogue and the conversations, because obviously it's such a small cast, is just like you're in the room with them, and that's why I love it. Like all the little dialogues that they have with the characters, I just think is incredible. And I've never cried at a movie so much as I've cried at this, apart from the
Really?
Notebook. But anyway,
Perfect.
yeah.
No, rest in peace, Jenna Rollins. So I would say that. Why are you laughing? She died.
This is dedicated to her. This
is
episode.
actually Jenna Rollins died, and I messaged Rhian saying, Jenna Rollins, she's died. She was incredible. Can you please watch A Woman Under the Influence or opening night so we can do an emergency podcast in memoriam? And she was like, can't find them on Amazon Prime. Can you not just do a Facebook post? Anyway, so it came to I would say, whereas I had a very poor viewing experience, you possibly had far too good a viewing experience, and it possibly everybody's opinions are different, but that possibly has heightened it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whereas I know I had a similar thing. I watched I was at the Philadelphia Film Festival on the same, a broad thing that you were on. And those first viewings of Jojo Rabbit and Marriage Story, Jojo Rabbit, a fine movie, but, watching that on its opening and all that sort of thing, it does heighten, your pleasure and enjoyment of the movie. Now, did you know it was a play before it started, or did you very swiftly realize?
I very swiftly realized in the Q&A.
Right. Okay.
And then the next day I went and I bought the play and I read it, and because Darren Aronofsky, he did the script as well, didn't he?
I believe he worked with Samuel D. Hunter, who wrote the play. Yes, let me just double check on that one. But yeah, no, it had been a very successful play, partially based on. Go on.
Sorry to interrupt. It shocks me though how it was a play. Because also, I'm sorry if you can hear my dog screaming. Because it shocks me how they do make you feel that kind of like immobile sense that he obviously has, like how they'll do that in a play. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they do it in the play from the footage I've seen with a series of terrible, unrealistic looking fat suits. And it looks, I mean, the images I've seen of the actual Broadway production, and it looks like a guy, who's in an entire couch suit, like, and he's just he pops his little head up. And the big difference is that, when you get fat or whatever, as I found out, it does go to your it does go to your face as well. So you've got this very thin actor popping up into this huge like this scarecrow outfit. I haven't seen the play. I cannot, besmirch it or whatever, but the images I've seen look quite poor and unrealistic. And that is where this film does succeed, because I do think we can spend 30 seconds or 30 minutes on if it's problematic or not, but I do think the makeup is absolutely sensational and very realistic and very, very good. George Clooney was attempting to make this movie for years, allegedly, with a size appropriate actor, and the planning difficulties and insurance and that sort of thing just obviously wouldn't work. And I don't want to be this guy straight away, but no shit, you cannot, the odds of a man on the edge of death weighing 300 pounds, also being a very good actor. I mean, I don't and then
also stuff your face, like we're gonna have a few binge scenes. So
yeah, I mean, it would have genuinely been a health concern. I don't know. I don't want to put you, on the hot seat or anything like that. Do you find any credence in it being allegedly problematic? Do you see people's worries with it, issues with it?
I understand. I understand where people are coming from, as casting people who go through. I understand, but then I kind of compare it to, To the Bone with Lily Collins.
The anorexia thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never watched it, but I know of it. Yeah.
So I watched an interview with her, and she said she obviously got like seriously skinny for that and dieted like she would in the film, so she was literally tiny. And obviously she isn't an actress currently going through anorexia, is she?
No.
But she said she went through it a bit in her youth and she understands the emotions to it.
Right.
So I think that kind of thing is because she can accurately then play this person because she's gone through this, but she's not currently in it. So I don't think to accurately play someone who is morbidly obese and going through all these health problems and all these mental health issues, you don't have to be in that place at the moment. Just if you're playing someone depressed, I'm not like, you actually have to be depressed as we're filming.
I mean, the point of the plot of this story is that, of course, he's about to die. So in the most rude and dark way possible, it would be like, giving somebody a terminal disease for them to be able to play a terminal disease. I mean, I see more credence in how the film is shot, and I mean, I have a problem with food anyway. Like food watching, I don't like it. Watching people eat. So, and the just absolute horror grotesquerie that Darren Aronofsky shoots some of these eating scenes and shoots some of Charlie walking around. I do find them to be quite egregious and quite unsettling on purpose. Yeah, no, I know. But you can see an argument to be made that it is a movie that catastrophizes and makes a horror of this fat man. I mean, when he's just absolutely putting a sandwich on a pizza, and the music is swelling, and and he's going, it's not funny, but there is. Anyway. I mean, let's go straight into it. So Charlie is loosely based on author Samuel D. Hunter himself, who wrote both the eponymous play and the movie adaptation. Like Charlie, Hunter is openly gay, taught expository writing at Rutgers University, and battled binge eating. Hunter noted that before he lost almost 130 pounds, checkout girls would barely make an effort to act kindly to him, and people would yell abuse to him on the street. So it's written from a position of sincerity and honesty. Could you make the argument that there's just far too much going on? It's not just the story of a fat, obese man. He's struggling with the death of his partner, who starved himself to death, who was also gay. So they're dealing with that. His nurse is his ex. Who was pushed out of the church. His nurse is his ex-gay lover's sister, and somehow who's adopted. And then you've got why not make the gay lover Chinese or Asian as well as Hong Chao? Anyway, maybe the script, I don't know. And then also, not just that, the ex-wife is now a struggling alcoholic, and on top of all of that, you're dealing with his daughter, who the daughter could just be depressed. That's fine. No, she's just absolutely terrible. She's flunking out of school. She's taking advantage of her father's financial situation to get him to get. Yeah, she's smoking pot. And let's talk about this random guy. What the fuck was he doing there? No, we're also dealing with religious, bigotry and all this sort of shit. I smoked pot too much and I got kicked out of the church. I mean, I don't think it's intentionally played for comedy, but when he comes back in near the end, and obviously Charlie knows nothing about this, and he goes, "Your daughter's changed my life. She took a video of me smoking pot and sent it to the church, but then they kicked me out of the church and they forgive me, and they said it's only money." And you cut back to Brendan Fraser, and he's just going, "What? What are you saying?" And it's not supposed to be funny, but it is absolutely hilarious. Do you think there's a more streamlined movie of this that works somewhat better?
What I would cut away?
I mean, you could cut out that guy like that.
No, but I just think I think in the lack of complexity that you have in the set, it makes up for it in all the characters, and that's like the layering of it, because it's not like we're going all around town. We're in a dingy room. Like an apartment, and then sometimes you go outside. So I think it would be too much if the characters were constantly changing location. But do you not think the music and the characters are over exaggerated because it's such a basic set?
I think that, you know what it feels like?
What?
It feels like NT Live, National Theatre Live. And my mum said this when we watched Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf with Imelda Staunton. She said, she's a bit over the top, isn't she? And I said, no, not really, because the camera is in your face on a stage, but you're also still giving a performance for an entire theatre. That's what it feels like, except this is a film.
Well, I think because I kind of had a bit of a problem with Ellie, Sadie Sink's character, because I felt like she was a bit like, I felt like only until the end she kind of,
get up, you fucking fat asshole. I mean, I think a lot was made about how Sadie Sink was bad in this movie around the time. And to be honest with you, I think most of it's unfair.
Did you just get a bottle of wine?
I did. This is water, Lauren. I'm not that bad yet. This is water because I don't have any water bottles. So I'm using one of my Pinot Noirs. Look at the liquid. Look at the liquid. Do you not trust me?
The dog food money not coming in that well. I can't afford a plastic water bottle.
I don't like plastic. Anyway, I don't. But a lot was made about Sadie Sink being terrible, and I don't think she's good, but I think most of my problems are with the script. I think it's a poor script, and and again, you know what really annoys me is when people are like, it's a play, like, oh, it's like it's, you can tell that it's a play and all this shit. When obviously we've studied theatre, we love theatre, we have seen so many good plays but it's movies like The Whale where you've got 5 people in a room shouting and screaming at one another exactly how they feel, and that plays as an entire medium of art get a bad name. And I've also seen terrible plays. Lord knows it. And when they're bad, they are similar to The Whale. They are people, this is why I'm fat, and all this.
No, but I don't think I felt that from anyone, because I think the character of Liz, I felt she was complex. She had actual emotion, and she's reacting how actually a normal person would in that situation. I feel like Ellie, if this was your dad, yes, he abandoned you for his gay lover. Yes, he never saw you. But you're telling me you'd see this man who's literally cannot even get himself off the sofa, and you just berate him, scream at me, then drug him and feel nothing like
drug him, and then anyway, and then threaten to kill him so that you can. Does she want to fuck the Mormon guy? I don't get it. I don't get why she threatens to kill him.
For her, if I'm like overanalyzing, I'm like, she has this thing about control because she has no control and stability in her life. So I think she just wants to know that people love her even though she doesn't love them. Like she's like so.
She's got a great Facebook profile.
But also, can we talk? We need to have a separate conversation about the Zoom.
I mean, I'm not a fan of this movie at all, and I find it really.
I love it. Like, I'm honestly shocked why you hate it so much. Like, I think it's like notes and notes and notes. I love this movie. So I understand the Sadie Sink thing. I get it.
I don't even think it's her. I don't think she's the worst part. Like, I just think it's incredibly melodramatic and not well pitched in any way. What's your relationship to Darren Aronofsky? I'm guessing you've only seen Black Swan, or have you seen Mother as well?
No, I've seen nothing but this with him.
Okay, all right. So you haven't seen Black Swan, Mother.
So I didn't have some kind of big connection to him when I was watching this film.
No, I don't have a big connection. I love Black Swan, but I'm not like die hard for Darren. Like,
I am. I think, to be honest, if I'm serious about it, the thing that I love most about this film is actually how it's shot.
Okay.
Look at me, photographer. I think I'm like harping on about this. I listened to one of his podcast episodes, and he was saying how he formatted it like he was the sun and everyone else was moving around him. Don't.
No, I'm not laughing. I mean, that's just what every director does every day of the year. So I don't know.
No, but Yeah, but he said he used like the universe and like space and everything as his don't
I'm
as
not laughing.
his
I'm not laughing.
as his inspiration for this. And you could, when the first like who was the first person who comes in? Liz.
Yeah, it's Hong Chow to begin
Yeah.
with. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
And
no,
then
no, 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 no,
who was
Lauren.
it?
No, Lauren. The first person to walk in
The Mormon guy.
is
You
the
like.
Mormon when he is frantically masturbating to gay porn and
Of
then
course.
has a coughing fit.
Sorry. Yes. No, but the way like the camera kind of swoops around and it's all kind of like circular, and then the way all the actors kind of move past each other is like Steve has directed this. The whole like turn onwards on yourself and
No,
all
no,
that
no.
kind
I
of
think,
thing.
no.
Like,
In all seriousness, I think Darren Aronofsky has done a great job directing directing this film in some regards when it comes to blocking, when it comes to business, when it comes to
yeah.
making this not feel stagey. I don't think it feels stagey visually. I think it feels stagey because at times it feels like a bad play, and that's my big struggle with it. I don't think it has much of a handling on tone. I think it falls into the saccharine and the overly emotional constantly, leading to. I mean, how do you feel about the ending?
I mean, I do think it's weird how he like lifts himself.
Oh, he levitates and goes, ah!
But then isn't that kind of like going into the space thing? Like he's going shooting up like a little rocket. But I would have loved it to like end as grotesque as it kind of started.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, is it like a more sacredness around death and you can't be sure, or because I'm like, we've shown every other emotion, every other like gross thing that comes out of our body and we put in our body, and then now you're making it like glowy and perfect for death.
Because in reality, he has a heart attack right there on the spot and possibly crushes Sadie Sink to death. So, mate, that's why they didn't show it. Can you imagine? I agree with you, but I think that it would have been one of the funnier endings of all time. If you literally just show him flop over dead and then cut to black, I've been hearing you're concerned about my happiness, directed by Darren Aronofsky. I don't know what the reaction would have been. But also I don't think, I think the movie thinks it is this incredibly emotional. Well, everybody does cry. You cried.
But it is, but yeah, but also the fact that it's so kind of overindulged in emotion, in stories, in depth with everyone is the whole. It's like it feels like the whole point. Like it's over consumption, over like.
Okay, all right, okay. No, I can see what you're
You know
going.
what I
I
mean?
can see. It's like when people say that Wolf of Wall Street's too long, and I'm like, no, the whole point is overconsumption. And like, why were there all those sex scenes and drug scenes? That's a yeah. So, but
And all this
also is
guy
that just
really, if you think about it, like because it is weird how we get so into everyone's like backstory.
he just
But then,
loves drama. I mean,
no, but
let's
then
not
it's like,
forget
so
how he
what else,
gets.
like this guy to, this sounds so mean, to like live for. Like he's literally sat there,
Yeah.
all his connections are through the screen with his freaking Zoom. So of course we're gonna dive into everyone. Like what else is he doing? He's doing like an hour Zoom once a day.
Yeah. He's doing an hour Zoom, but over the course of 4 days, he does, by happenstance, have every single important person in his life come to see him and give their entire life story. So it's a good week.
That's when I keel over.
True. Funny, great line. I didn't used to be this big. No shit. Anyway.
Yeah, but like, that isn't that like such like a true statement though.
I mean,
Like everyone loves to tell each other like what kind of like stage they're at in their weight. Like, oh, this is when I was really skinny. Like,
yeah. No,
you know.
in all seriousness, like I have struggled with weight, not to this extent, and I mean, and
I don't think you need to put that in.
the podcast on video. I never turn my video off so people can see. Literally, there is a back-to-back episodes where I've before going to sea and coming back from sea. I mean, and it's a noticeable change. But anyway, no, And yeah, there is. I also struggled with not necessarily binge eating, but eating like I was very lonely, and I would
like emotional eating. Yeah.
yeah, I would I would order a nice big curry or a nice big takeaway or a Chinese or something, so that my night felt like something happened. And
Mm.
I mean, this is very honest and emotional, but so yes, the film does ring true in some regards to me, but I don't know. You know, I
If no, but I think if we're going on a deep spiritual level right now, I think obviously, and it's in the very shown in the media, I think we're okay. This sounds very strange. There's so many films and there's so many programs about people who struggle on the other side of this, like eating disorder spectrum, where they're not eating anything.
yeah,
And with anorexia and that kind of thing. But I think as soon
or
as we flip
drugs
it,
or alcohol or any
yeah,
number of things. Yeah,
but I think as soon as we flip it to you're overeating or you're binge eating or you're much larger or all this, it's like we find that like abhorrent, it's disgusting. And it's like we can't, I don't think you sympathize as much with people who are obese and people who are like dangerously underweight.
Yeah. So I completely agree. There are, you know, we hear constantly about, you know, Christian Bale putting on weight for American Hustle, or you know, or Jared Leto for the movie where he was John Lennon's killer. But the movie's not about the weight. It's a story that we use to valorize these actors. It's not actually about the weight. So I do agree. There is something about putting this story on a grand scale and showing people and telling people. On the other side of that, is this the movie to do? Is this the movie to do it? Where he is depicted as a monster for like the music and the depiction of eating. He is literally depicted monstrously.
But then him himself, like,
Sees
and his
himself as
emotion,
a monster. Yeah.
No, and it's also his kind of raw emotion and like sweetness about that is his own personality. Kind of all contradicts that, and I felt sorry for him, and you just kind of, it's like that's what everyone else thinks of him, and he's constantly justifying why he's this big, and he's constantly trying to find reasons of like why he is this big. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't just.
I mean, again, I think the movie just, and the writing specifically, just has too many on the nose. I mean, he's eating himself to death because his gay lover starved himself to death. I mean, is that just not a little bit too cloying and just a little bit too on the nose? I mean,
yes, but then there's something so like Shakespearean about it.
Exactly.
Like,
there's something romantic about it, which again you could say is bad. You know, romanticizing you know, dual suicides. I don't think that that's a good thing particularly either. You know, and then on the other side, you know, it's true, many people do find suicide as the only option when they're kicked out of the church or anything, like, you know, any number of reasons, or even worse, you know, suicide and depression in the gay community, or, you know, the queer community, whatever. You know, these things all are true. All of these things are true. Did every single one of them have to be in this film? No, I don't think so. I think this needed to be a stripped back. I mean, for me, the ideal version of the play would be just two people, just his daughter coming to see him. Maybe he doesn't have a nurse. I love Hong Chow. I love Hong Chow in the film. I think she's great, but
I think then you would be bored.
I wouldn't be bored if it was Lauren. If something's good, it's not boring.
Yeah, but if it was an hour 45 of just two people talking, I don't think.
I mean,
if you don't have all, I don't think if you have, you need the kind of long-term friendship that him and Liz have, and that kind of connection. I agree that the pizza delivery guy should have had such of a
from Gambino's. Hey guy, oh, what's your name?
In the post box.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, there is. I mean, obviously, I love Streetcar, and there is that scene where the post delivery boy comes, and then the whole play is recontextualized after we know one of Blanche's many scandals. And well, that's yeah, but this is the thing, isn't it? Streetcar is, you know, 6 people, 7 people in a room, and everything is in it. You've got sexual assault, pedophilia, rape, domestic abuse, everything that I'm going negative against the whale. But the characters are so complex and the dialogue is so rich. This isn't fair, obviously, to you know, compare the whale to arguably the greatest play ever written. I know that that's unfair, but
go ahead anyway.
I want to talk. Let's just, before we take our first break, let's do 5 minutes on the Oscar race. I'm guessing that you were very happy that Brendan Fraser won.
Yeah, I was even happy at his speech.
So this is what the multiverse looks like.
He's so cute, and I think a part of that what makes this movie so special is how happy he is to be in this movie.
Yes, let's touch on that now, because I do think it is a huge part of it. Brendan Fraser believed he was black. Sorry, that sounded like victim blaming. It was his belief that he'd been blacklisted from the community after a sexual assault from a member of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association around, I believe he claimed it was 2016 or so. Something around that time. And yes, then he wasn't in movies. He became one of these people of where did Brendan Fraser go? Then during Me Too, he says, this is why. And I feel like I have been blacklisted. There was a huge GQ article. And then it was in a few movies. No Sort of Movie had a small scene and the like. But nothing on this scale. And then The Whale comes about and we get that early buzz. And it bizarrely coincides with the reappraisal or alleged, you know, reinvention of the Golden Globes and the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, and you've got this whole dynamic around it. And so, yes, there is that very emotional element that of, you know, Brendan Fraser coming back to Hollywood in this role. I do think the way that some people talk about him is incredibly infantilizing and does rub me the wrong way. That wasn't a dig at you, but like I do literally think when everyone's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy for him," and it's like nobody. I get it. It's awful what he went through, and I'm so happy he's back. And I thought he was excellent in Killers of the Flower Moon. Like people saying that he was bad in Killers of the Flower Moon, he was too over the top. That's the whole fucking point. Get a life, anyway. And I hope he does other great work. I can't say that this was my favorite performance of the year. I can't say that it might be my 5th favorite of those nominations. I much preferred Colin Farrell in Banshees of Inisherin. I much preferred Paul Mescal in Aftersun. I much preferred Bill Nighy in Living. And I do think...
see, that surprised me how you preferred Aftersun to this.
I wasn't a huge fan of Aftersun, to be honest with you. I preferred it to this, but I wasn't a huge fan. I thought, if anything, Aftersun was too subtle. And, you know... but yeah, that hit in a way that this didn't for me. And I liked After. Why do you think I'm surprised about that? I liked Aftersun. Why do you think on earth I would not enjoy a movie about a middle-aged depressed man who's, you know, in love with his daughter and you know, that loving relationship? You know how I feel about my future daughter, who I have yet to have, obviously. But I mean, as we'll talk about when we do Father of the Bride, you know, in a couple of weeks or whatever. So yeah, Aftersun hit. I thought Bill Nighy was excellent. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm guessing that you thought he was deserved. Did you watch? I presume you watched Elvis, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
What did
I think of Elvis?
Well,
I preferred this to Elvis.
Yeah, no, I think I preferred this as a film.
I think that part of but it's also what we're saying about like the time and place and whatever when you watch it and people who are associated with it. That freaking Baz Luhrmann, I cannot stand.
You don't like Baz Luhrmann?
Fucking hell! It's like he was Elvis.
Yeah, I mean,
it was him. So like Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. I'm like, just Elvis. Like
yeah.
It felt too obnoxious with it all, and so it made me not like the movie before I watched it. Then I watched it and I was like, this is good. but now Austin Butler's like still Elvis. I don't
Another
know.
another outrageous fat suit. Tom Hanks.
Wait, oh, Tom Hanks also.
It was terrible. Yeah. That's be the future music. No, yes, overall, no, I was very happy with Brendan Fraser winning. Obviously, it's an incredible moment. And yes. We're going to take our first break and then we'll be back and we will go through your many, 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 many notes.
Many, many men. Okay. How long do we...
And we're back. Right. Let's talk about this then. So I really was slack on notes, to be honest with you.
Mine are all a bit jumbled, but you know that already of how I speak. So let's just fire things.
Okay. I've just got here the idea of the setup to pay her $120,000 to spend time with him. I just want you to read an essay. Oh, let's talk about this now. The essay bullshit. It just, I mean, that what is going to happen when he actually, well, we see him die, but like, what's going to happen when he actually has an actual real issue? It was like, read me the essay. I needed Hong Chow to just slap him and go, "You're dying."
With the essay.
With the essay.
I think I to be honest, like when I first watched it and until it was revealed who wrote the essay, I thought it was Alan's essay.
But no, I'm sorry. But Hong Chow says, "What is this doing here? Was she here?" And that's about 30 minutes in. So the whole idea that it's a reveal. What, you're thinking that Hong Chow is a bag hag and is calling Alan her? Was she here?
Was she here? I bet she was. Yeah. No, I'm saying it's like I thought, because you know when it's like, oh, because you're a student. I thought student. This is why he fell in love with Alan, because he read this essay and he loved it. I thought that would have been quite a cute angle to do.
None of this is cute. So, are you going to make a YouTube? Are you going to? I am. It's time it comes out. And are you going to do a YouTube edit of a fan cam of Alan and set to? I don't know.
I'm going to do a flipogram on TikTok, like a. In another life, everyone running on the beach. I will be your girl running.
Yeah. I mean, what a terrible movie. Let's talk about the Zoom now. One of the emotional moments of this movie is one of the most funny. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. The 6 Hollywood Square reactions. You've got the one guy laughing, going, the one guy who drops his pen. I mean, the one guy who's still just eating his ramen and is like, "Why are we here for this?"
Yeah, but that is like Olivia in our first year Zooms.
Yes. But
it did remind me of what our Zooms were like in first year with Debby.
But can you imagine it? Yeah. Autoethnography. Can you imagine if you got an email from your teacher at 1 p.m. at night? Ignore the fucking essays. Ignore the books. Write something honest. It's insane. Of course he and then he's like, "So now you know that I got fired." Yeah. What would and then he's reading the things. "Some of you actually sent things in. Everybody tells me I've got promise. I don't know what that means." What? Would you be a person who replied to that, your manic teachers?
Yes.
What would your reply be?
That's a good question. What would my reply be?
But also, imagine you've just spent all day writing this Moby Dick essay at the last minute.
I would send like a hate letter to him.
Hate that boy.
Hey, fatty.
Oh, they don't know that he's fat yet. Where's your camera off? Where's your camera off?
I love when he puts his like Britney Spears headphones on, game time.
Yeah. He's like, and then when he takes them off and he goes, "You matter." He takes them off to get closer to the microphone, even though those are designed to quite literally. And then,
okay, now you're picking.
I'm picking. I'm not picking about one of the funnier moments I've seen all year when he turns the camera on and just the face isn't enough. He needs to grab the computer.
And puts it to his legs.
puts it to his legs, and then ends the call and throws the computer against the fridge. Unequivocally hilarious. The opening, I do think there is something quite interesting and vulnerable about the opening and how it is just absolutely all there.
Exactly.
And
Can I ask a question before the opening though? You know the scene with the bus?
Yeah.
Is that... Sorry, my dog just threw herself against the door.
Like the laptop.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to get her. She's like on a suicide mission. She wants to come in. One
It's
sec.
fine, I'll pause.
Hi.
We're back. Look at this little special guest.
This is Lola. Say hi.
Hello, Lola. We should have Boo Boo. Well, no, I think I might get a dog. No, I can't get a dog. I live in an apartment.
Please get a dog. Look how long she is though.
Depending on, it's a big dog. I mean, I'd get pure pet food discount, obviously.
Hello, Papa. This is how she just stares at me. Look.
She's in love. Dogs are a great animal. Here are a few of my changes. Him again.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That are just unequivocally funny to me. Him Googling his BPM and the computer saying, "You should already be dead. Call 911."
Call 911.
Yeah.
No.
And he's like,
because also then that is one of my favorite bits because he's like reaches in the drawer and he's like, no, I'm not got that chocolate. I'm a changed person. Googling, and then he gets the music rises, and then it's like, no, I'm just gonna binge, and because what's the fucking point?
Yeah. He read the Bible twice.
I expected more. Did you not?
Do we know Steve's opinion on the whale?
Probably won't be a good one, will it?
The last time I talked about movies with Steve, he was underwhelmed by Oppenheimer, underwhelmed by May December, but loved No Hard Feelings.
Oh my God, I loved No Hard Feelings.
Excellent movie. Very good.
Oh my God. Can we do a podcast episode on that? I absolutely
would love to.
That
but that's it. See, this is the thing though. I also watched that on an illegal download in the middle of the ocean and loved it. So a good movie will shine through anything, Lauren.
Yeah, but that's different because you love Jennifer Lawrence and it was a comedy. This is
I like Brenda. I would declare that Black Swan is in my top 50 favorite movies of all time. So I had enough goodwill with this movie.
This movie is meant to be liked. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
It's not that globule of spit. This movie is not meant to be liked. It's everything that's disgusting and that you don't want to watch in fucking Hollywood. Like it's what, it's not glamorous in any way. You don't feel good watching it. So I think that's why then if you look beyond that, it's actually a beautiful movie. Bitch.
Oh no, because it pulls its punches. Go ahead. Yes, about the bus.
So at the beginning, is that part of the movie? Is that just part of
the trailer?
Hello? No, is it part of the movie? I didn't know because then A24 popped up. I was like, is it their thing?
No. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it was just supposed to be Sadie, isn't it? Sadie.
Yeah, because then I think I also loved that scene because in my head it's like they're in the middle of nowhere. The bus just kind of drops her off, and it's kind of like he showing that there's one stop for him.
Yeah,
and it's death.
Yeah, that's Sadie Sink. That's Sadie Sink getting off the bus.
Okay, good.
That's not an elaborate.
But don't you think it kind of is like once you're in this town, like you're not getting out, and it's kind of like he's just on his way to death. Like there's no.
Yeah,
you can't.
No, you can. Yeah,
no, I just feel like it's all. Anyway, I loved that bit.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the beginning of the gliding of the camera around when he was doing his business to his pornography. Also, one thing.
Sorry, I don't want to be rude, but like, is he able to touch himself? I didn't want to zoom in, or is because he feels it. That looked like he was getting angry that he couldn't get himself off.
I think he was. I think he was. I don't know if this is weird to say, but like, do you think he misses that kind of relationship? Like having
of course he does. Of course he misses having sex.
No, but that's why he was like upset because he's like upset that he's feeling that pleasure.
Okay. Yeah. True. No. Yeah. All right. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I don't know. Also, another point that I loved, which you will despise, is I think the unraveling of like the relationships. Obviously, it's so quick, and we hear so much about them so quick, makes it feel like you're in a play more. So I actually like that, but I know you wouldn't. Like the way it's very like, oh, your daughter, or
No,
when Alan put himself in the lake and all that kind of stuff.
no, there's exposition in all of my favorite. I mean, again, you could say that you could point to some of the parts of Streetcar. Like when we get to halfway through Streetcar and every single scene is a new reveal of something else that Blanche did, then you could say she's a pedophile as well. She got kicked out of school. I've done so many of these. You're going to be on our 250th episode. Did you know that, Lauren?
No.
Because we're finally going to do Fred Claus after you delayed last year.
I love movie.
Which has
Who
What?
are we doing it with? Just me
Will.
and you?
No, and Will.
Oh my God. Will, the co-creator?
The co-creator of this show, yeah.
Wow.
Who you met on Nativity.
Oh God.
What? What's wrong with the Nativity?
Because it wasn't just us two, was it? It was more
No,
people.
that was Polar Express.
It was who?
Polar Express was the one that you did with your ex.
Oh, okay. I still love the Polar Express. No one can ruin that for me.
Although we can try.
You can try. One thing that I absolutely loved is, when she's listening to his lungs at the back.
Yeah.
And there's that silence, and they make his breath really loud, and you can hear his wheeze.
No, I think that there's some. My issues with the music aside, I think there is excellent sound design here. The choking and the wheezing, and I think the choking scene's great. But the furniture. But on the other hand, him falling over and breaking that table is that is. Oh, I was going to say it's kind of funny.
Yeah, because I don't think you take this film seriously. You look at it like a fat man in a chair.
That is not. I find it emotional to an extent.
How emotional was it when it was like, oh, where's he going? He's not going to be here next week. Why? Where's he going? 6 feet under.
No, I think that's stupid. Actually, this idiot Mormon, again, worst part of the movie by far.
It's not even Mormon. It's New Life. He's literally like we're on the road to nowhere. One of those.
Is New Life a real? Is New Life a real thing?
I actually didn't Google it, but it sounded like literally what we did our last play on.
Yeah, I know that last play was good.
We're on the road
to nowhere.
Get up there.
Come on inside. Do you want to hear a worst case scenario situation?
Go on.
Tom Ford originally was attached to direct, which is a good case scenario. Tom Ford is great, the fashion designer, but he's also done a few great movies. However, he wanted James Corden to star.
I think I might have thrown myself out somewhere. If
Can you imagine getting the call? I've got a perfect role for you. The Whale.
Opening you on sofa, jacking off.
Jacking off. This is the thing. When this movie was first announced, I didn't know about the play. Pardon my ignorance. But so I literally was thinking to myself, all I knew was that it was Brendan Fraser as an obese man. I didn't know about the English teacher aspect of it, and I knew that it was called The Whale. And I thought, that is outrageous.
Oh, I mean, it is outrageous, but I don't know. Anyway, carrying on. I loved the music. We've talked about that, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Also, one thing that actually dug me so deep was when Sadie Sink just went to him, "You're disgusting."
Yeah, Sadie Sink does not hold back.
She doesn't hold back, but she says the worst. I'd rather her be like, "Fuck you." I feel like in that way the script is good because the insults that are given feel like feel like someone's written them having those have been said to them. Like it's not just like, oh, what's like a bad insult we can say about fat man?
There is.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
everybody everybody has the absolute capacity to be awful people. So the concept that that these things have been said or could be said is all truthful, and I get it, and it's but on the other side of things, it all just feels so startlingly melodramatic. And I just can't get over that.
But then also with your suggestion of just having him and his daughters doing the whole movie, isn't that even more melodramatic?
No. Well, no. Because you could see a version of this movie that is just two people, but that also sucks. So there's so.
But it is. I like the aspects of like comedy in it. Like I think it lightens it with that way, and that doesn't make it as dramatic as it is. When she's like, "You're a pervert, take another hit." Like,
yeah, I mean, like. And when she calls him the F word and stuff, obviously all of her anger and hatred and homophobia is from, I nearly said a natural place, but I mean,
a natural place.
It's understandable.
Don't judge her.
Yeah, give her a break. But you know what I'm trying to say. We understand why she's hateful. What do we think about Samantha Morton? Because Samantha Morton is unequivocally one of our great actresses. And
who's that?
The ex-wife.
I think her scene with him was incredible. I didn't like her entrance to the scene though.
Or her ending.
No, I think, I don't know, I feel like they kind of ruined her a little bit. And I didn't like how she was like a druggy alcoholic.
It just felt like it felt like the sort of shit I would do when I was a kid, and I was like, a character wasn't dimensional enough, and I was like, guess they could be an alcoholic,
Maybe they're depressed. I don't know.
Yeah, mate. Car accident or something, and like every single person had to have every single person had to have something huge,
some kind of ailment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree with you on that one, because I feel like having her be some kind of like alcoholic, oh well, I got these because my mum put some like candy, like.
Got Griffin Newman of the Blank Check podcast, a great podcast. He said that his issue with The Whale was that he felt that all 5 performances were pretty good, just in entirely different movies. And I think you can make that argument. Like everybody feels like, everyone feels completely they're in a different movie. You've got this, touching drama, like realistic drama with Hong Chow. You've got this overblown melodramatic thing with Brendan Fraser. You've got this. I mean, there's no way to justify the New Life guy, Thomas, his name.
I loved his character until he
came
in. Save me. I think it gave like an air of the fuck. Like it was just like a different kind of dimension coming in and mixing it up. I didn't like him being this like, I did smoke crack and I did. I feel like keep him preppy, and I feel like they should have kept him on that. And
again, what on earth was that relationship? Do you want to? I mean, and then when Charlie's like, you thought I found you attractive? What? Like, what is that supposed to be? Is he lying? Is he what?
I don't know. Maybe he could be.
I'm disgusting. No,
but maybe he's kind of like I don't know the right word to describe, but kind of flattered that he even thought that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, that is also weird how it's like Alan was his student, and this guy comes in like looking like in school uniform.
Yeah, we go back to
the church, and it's very similar. So maybe I don't know. It's like that's how he first kind of formed his relationship with Alan, isn't it? When they started seeing each other after class and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I
But
just
I would
don't.
have rather the New Life guys stay on that New Life track rather than
Yeah.
having some shady past, because then all the characters are kind of becoming the same.
Well, this is the thing, is that like, yeah, everybody's a shady pin. And also, I know this goes against like good writing in many ways, but why did he need to have a full arc that we spend 10 minutes on? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I know that you could, there's a version of this where I say the exact opposite and say he needed to have an arc. You know, he needed to have something to do. But I actually think it's the opposite. I think there is a part of me that's like, just cut him entirely. The whale. I don't really have any other fun facts. What else is in your notes?
Um, I one thing I did like is I felt like all the characters were kind of fighting towards something. I know you don't think this, but I feel like all the characters were fighting some inner thing, some inner personal struggle throughout the whole play. And I felt like
Yes.
it was fast paced. It was like a sense of urgency. I didn't feel like at any points it was flat. And it felt like a really short movie.
Yeah. No. Let's end. Well, we can end here on some vague positivity. I don't think it's atrocious. I don't think it's good. I I think the everything around Brendan Fraser's performance and win is more in not more interesting. That's just fetishizing his trauma, but is was a lot more than the actual performance. It is when people talked about Maestro and said that it was just a nose and all that shit. I couldn't fathom that, and I know that art's subjective, but like I couldn't fathom that. I thought that Bradley was so textured, so layered, so sensational in that film. And to me, on the other side of things, this did just feel like a fat suit.
Yeah, but that's like an aesthetically pleasing film. This is like a dingy, dull, gross. Like, do you know what I mean? So I feel like
Lauren,
that.
I know what you mean, but I
Yeah, but
don't
I
want to
feel like that's
patronize you.
giving.
I've watched every movie ever. And I've
Well,
watched
we
dingy,
know.
horrible. I've watched dingy, horrible movies before. I mean, this movie is literally Leaving Las Vegas. I know you haven't seen Leaving Las Vegas. Nicolas Cage drinks himself to death over the course of a week in Vegas, and by happenstance falls in love with a prostitute that same week, played by the wonderful Elizabeth Shue. Excellent film, dingy, dark, brilliant. Nicolas Cage is sensational, doesn't shy away from anything. Far more textured, far more complex, far more better performance, far better performances, more realistic, more human. None of these screaming, that's why I'm drunk. I need to drink myself to death because I'm a fucking low life, blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
Elizabeth Shue doesn't scream, I suck cock because I'm miserable in my life, and the only person I could ever love is an alcoholic who's gonna die on me.
she should have said that.
She should have. That is true. She should have said that. Which is the version of this, and that's all the whale is. The whale is just leaving my apartment, instead of leaving Las Vegas, and
My apartment.
and he's eating himself to death instead of drinking himself to death. So the idea of me not liking this movie because it's intentionally repulsive, when every interview I've read with Darren Aronofsky and Stephen D. Hunter is Samuel D. Hunter, are them all saying that they wanted to move past the repulsiveness and they've made a movie that is disgusting. There you go.
Okay.
Any final thoughts, Lauren?
Um, Final thoughts. I thought, okay, all like loving, hating aside, I thought it was a really interesting movie to watch. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that's set in just one room, really, with no movement. I thought that was really interesting. I think the whole way Darren approached the movie, as in rehearsing it for only 3 weeks and blocking out the couch and rehearsing it like a play, really interesting. And so in that level, I think it's quite a cool film to study on different ways of approaching directing film over theatre.
Yeah.
And I thought the the music, how it was shot, loved that more than the actual script, as we've kind of talked about.
Yeah.
And it was a movie that kind of made me feel sorry for people I wouldn't have felt sorry for. And normally you would have sympathized with the child, wouldn't you? But I hated her and loved the guy who kind of inflicted that pain on her.
Yeah.
So it was an
Okay.
interesting movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. But I understand the problems with it that you're saying. I don't think it was an awful movie, as you're saying. But I understand why you say that.
I think I'm around 4 out of 10. Where are you? Because
Oh,
even
I'm
you,
like
an 8. That's okay. A movie that we both love, however, a masterpiece, a beautiful, 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 brilliant film, is of course
Fred Claus.
Fred Claus, and also Father of the Bride. George Bank, Wonder Swan. George Bank, Wonder Swan. Colin, 50 ahead.
This is going to be me and my cricketer, Father of the Bride.
Oh, you want to manifest this, right? Right, Lauren. This episode comes out. Let's do this game. This is going to be fun. This episode comes out. Where am I? Yeah, this episode comes out on the 20th of February. Oh, sorry, the 27th of February next year.
Oh my God, I'll be 23.
Yeah, I'll be 25.
Okay, no.
Oh my God. Let's manifest. You're going to get your cricketer. I'm going to get my girl. It's going to be wonderful. We've learned from the whale. This is what we've learned.
This is what we've learned from the whale, that things are looking up for us.
Things are looking up, and we shouldn't turn to eating ourselves.
No, we shouldn't turn to food.
I'm levitating. Lauren, it's happening. I'm levitating. Oh!
I've honestly learned so much this podcast. I feel like I've had like a spiritual awakening.
I mean, do you remember half an hour ago when I was very honest and genuine about the times I did used to binge eat to cure my depression, and now here we are laughing and making fun of this movie.
No, I also used to do that, but I once did a really bad binge eating thing because I had a really bad day at school that I went into the cupboard and like ate loads of chocolate. And my sister was
Lauren, this podcast is about to cut out in like 10 seconds, and I don't want you to be telling your story, and then it just cuts to black. So we're gonna say goodbye. Goodbye.
Miss you so much. Bye.
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 Bye.